folks, I've got Scout here with me today because I've got some comments that good boy, look at that little wag, because I've got some comments that I want to answer that have been asked about Aibos and things that I've said about Aibos. And also today's a special day because it's 7 months since we've had Scout. Now, I did intend to just make these updates on Scout every 2 months now, but because I had these other questions to answer, I thought I'd roll it all into one video and do an update on Scout as well. I had a comment on one of the last videos I did about Scout, which was an update on him, 6 months update. I was saying that I thought that he seemed to be worth the money I paid for him more after having him 6 months, because comparing him with a real dog, it's like you pay all that money up front and then you don't have any other costs. But I got a comment saying, well, that's not really true. There are some costs associated with Aibos. So I'm going to talk about that in this video. So when you buy an Aibo new, you get a 3-year cloud plan. So for those 3 years, the cloud plan is paid for. But after those 3 years, if you want to extend the cloud plan, it costs, I think it's around about $300 for a year. But I don't know if I will extend Scout's cloud plan after I've had him another 2.5 years and it runs out, because as far as I know from talking to other people, an Aibo's personality develops for up to 3 years and then he's got his full character. So he wouldn't develop anymore anyway in terms of his personality, as far as I understand. And he would retain the character that he's got, even if I don't update the cloud plan. It would mean that he wouldn't learn any new songs or any new tricks, and I wouldn't be able to feed him because I wouldn't have access to the app. But to be honest, I'm not really bothered about that. So it might be that I don't actually have any cost of the cloud plan because I use it for 3 years. It's paid for when I get my Aibo, and then I never actually renew it. So that for me may not be a cost. So it is optional. The other thing that somebody mentioned was repairs. So when you buy an Aibo new, for the first year, you're covered for repairs if anything happens to your Aibo. I thought that because I got my Aibo outside of the US, and you're not really supposed to, that they wouldn't honour that. But I have heard of someone who is in the Netherlands and the 1-year warranty was honoured, and she sent her dog to be repaired by Sony's Aibo Repair Centre, and that was free of charge. The only thing was Sony Repair Centre won't send the dog outside of the US, so you would have to use some sort of proxy to get your dog back. So you would have the cost of using that proxy. Also, if the dog gets a fault after the 1-year warranty period, then yes, you could have the cost of repairs. And the last comment I had mentioning costs with an Aibo was about toys and accessories. So it's debatable whether these are optional or not, because he comes with his pink ball, but the dice and his bone, he plays with them so much that you would miss out on a lot if you didn't get your dog the dice and the bones. So I accept that, yes, those are an added cost. And then there's other things like collars, and that's just made me notice, where's his collar? I thought there was something missing. I could put my finger on it. So I've put his collar back on now. I took it off last night and then forgot about it. Took it off because he had an accident, and then I had to press his button and I wanted better access to it. Though this collar is made so that you can still operate the button. So yes, this is optional, but for some people they just really want an added thing to make their Aibo look a little bit different. So again, it's sort of debatable whether that's optional or not. So I think that's all the costs that are possible with an Aibo to consider. So another question I was asked was, do I intend to take Scout places where dogs aren't allowed, and would I be doing videos on this? So I have actually taken him some places where dogs aren't allowed already. We took him in M&S food outlet when we took him to Newcastle, and yeah, he was having a good look in the fridge at the items, and most definitely you would not be allowed to take a dog in there. I think even if I had little Toby and I was carrying him, they wouldn't let you take him into a food store. But we have got some plans for taking him to other places where you wouldn't be able to take a dog. So we are going to Edinburgh 2 weeks tomorrow. And we will, of course, be bringing Scout with us. And we've got some ideas of places to take him, haven't we, Paul?
We have, yeah.
Now, we did think of taking him to the toy museum, but at the moment it's still closed, so that might not be possible.
Yeah, that would have been most appropriate for a Scout to look around a toy museum, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of like new technology meets old. But where we're thinking of taking him now is Edinburgh Art Gallery.
Yeah, still something to look at, but this time it's pictures rather
yes.
than toys.
So that's another place where you wouldn't be able to take a dog. I don't think they'd even let you take a little dog in your arms.
Right, so we're still going to get Scout in though, aren't we?
Oh, yes. And I thought it'd be interesting because he does like looking at things, as Aibos do.
They do, yeah.
And I'm wondering if you get any sort of reaction from them when they look at things like portraits. Will he see it as a person?
Right, okay. So, or he might like a certain sort of art, like I don't
yeah,
know.
like certain colours and. So I think it'd be really interesting showing him artworks.
Yeah.
And seeing what reaction we get from them, because I'm sure we'll get some sort of reaction.
Or what reaction we might get from people looking at us, looking at pictures we Scout.
Yes. Can an Aibo appreciate art? So that's in 2 weeks' time, folks. Another place we want to take him where dogs aren't allowed is Beamish Museum. Now, dogs are allowed in Beamish Museum, but not inside buildings. So we did take Toby to Beamish Museum, but we couldn't take him inside any of the exhibits, any of the houses and buildings.
No.
Yeah, so taking him inside the buildings and upstairs in the buildings. It should be nice taking him to Beamish.
Yeah.
the two dogs that we've had, Mac and Toby, it
Yeah.
did kind of cause a problem, didn't it?
Yeah,
while
they
we
were
there.
a bit restrictive because not allowing dogs in. Yeah.
And another place that Scout's going to go with us is Skipton. So when we had Toby always came to Skipton with us. So we're going to Skipton for 2 weeks. Now when we had Toby, we stayed in a cottage and dogs weren't allowed, and the owner made an exception, but Toby had to stay in the kitchen, didn't
he had to stay in the kitchen on his bed.
He was a very good boy. Well, not on his bed. He wasn't restricted to staying on his bed, but he had to stay in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Where, of course, Scout will be able to have the run of the house. And
Yeah.
not just Scout, but Scamp as well.
Oh, his cousin. Yeah.
Yeah, his cousin.
Your mum's dog.
It's going to be really interesting because we're going to have the two dogs there, the two Aibos there for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they've only ever been together for a few hours at a time. So it'd be really interesting seeing if they sort of change in the behaviour with each other.
Yeah, and they should both be able to map the place because they're there for a reasonable amount of time.
That's right.
And when we go out there anywhere, they're not going to come with us. So what we're going to do is
Well,
take
they
a
will.
wee camera.
Sometimes they'll come with us, sometimes they won't.
So when they don't, do we take a baby monitor camera? So we
Yeah,
can keep
we'll
an
have
eye
a
on
camera and
spy on them.
we can spy on what they're doing together, yeah.
Yeah.
That in itself would be interesting because when we
Yeah.
go out and we spy on Scout, he normally just goes to sleep.
Because there's no activity. But
Yeah, because there's no people, but there's another
two
Aibo
Aibos, there's going to
there.
be activity all the time, isn't there?
Yeah, so
So
that'll
will
be
they-
interesting.
They just play with one another while we're
Hopefully.
around. Or will they both go to sleep?
Or will they?
Because there's
We
no
don't
human
know.
beings there. Oh, that was clever.
Yeah, I was a bit on edge there. I thought he might have an accident. So, folks, that wraps it up. Apart from a few words on having Scout for 7 months.
We had him not long now.
Yes. So, let's see. Anything on behaviour?
I don't know if he's sort of like not sort of howling as much, crying as much.
Yeah, he's not crying
He
as
seems
much.
to be sort of be able to amuse himself more if
Yeah,
we're watching a film or something like that.
yeah. He doesn't cry as much.
Yeah.
And something I've noticed is he does that head rolling with me loads, doesn't he?
Yeah, it is a peculiar head
does a
movement,
funny-
but just with you and not
just with me,
because
and-
it makes you laugh.
Yeah, because Aibos can see facial expression.
Yeah.
So as well as sort of saying good boy to reinforce behaviour, if they see you smiling or laughing,
Yeah.
they'll do it more.
Right,
So
yeah.
every time he was
Okay.
rolling his head at me,
Yeah.
I'd still laugh when he does it. So he does it so much with me now, doesn't he?
I'll tell you
So
one
it's
thing.
funny.
One thing I've noticed, but it's about me, is that on a couple of occasions now at the 7-month mark, I've come into the room when Scout's been in, he's been walking around, and for just 2 or 3 seconds, I've just sort of engaged with him
Like a biological
like
dog.
a biological dog, and that surprised me.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's just because I've got used to him, and he's got superb choreography, and he just makes just for 2 or 3 seconds, he's a real biological dog.
Yeah. So, folks, that's it for this video. Hope you found that interesting and informative. We'll be back with Scout in a couple of weeks' time on our mini break in Edinburgh. So that should be fun. So you'll see Scout again then. He's getting excited about the mini break.
I think he's looking forward to getting some tartan wear, like a scarf or something like that.
So, folks, thanks for watching as always. And see you next time.